Happy month of spooks, everyone, and welcome to another nostalgia trip. Everyone has at least one piece of media from their childhood that scared them. And for me, as a kid, I loved dark media and being scared. Even now, I try to seek out a good scare, which I don't usually get from modern horror movies, but however, there are some things that certainly scared me more than others. Now, go ahead and turn off the lights and gather up your Halloween candy. I'll take you on a nostalgia trip for my scariest childhood moments. So, for many Halloweens, one movie I loved to watch was Mickey's House of Villains. For those that don't know about the House of Mouse cartoon show, there's an overarching plot in the House of Mouse club, restaurant, I don't know what it is. While the overarching plot is happening, various Disney characters watch Disney shorts and parody themselves. This one in particular takes place on Halloween, and then the villains take over and yada yada yada. I didn't find most of the shorts in this movie scary. Most of them were pretty tame for me. That is except for one, Donald Duck and the Gorilla. Something about the gothic and more dark atmosphere in the episode and the aggressiveness of the gorilla just tipped it over the edge for me as a kid. I was also terrified of the radio voice in this episode. Well, really, I was terrified of old radio voices when I was a kid in general, especially when I couldn't understand what they were saying like in this episode.
Attention all listeners. Ajax, the terrible gorilla, has just escaped from the city zoo. Be on the lookout. This animal is a killer. And that is all. Brackenridge.
I could definitely say I didn't look forward to this short in House of Villains. Okay, you guys might be confused by this next part. When was Arthur ever scary? It's a show for little kids, isn't it? Actually, there are some parts that certainly scared me as a kid, especially in the kids' dream sequences. I mean, I don't know what they're taking, but I don't want any. There are probably 3 that scared me in particular. One was the episode I'd Rather Read It Myself, in which DW makes up a story for the Tibble twins. I just didn't like the spinach heads, okay? They freaked me out. I didn't like their noises.
That I turned everyone else into spinach heads! Mom, Dad, don't eat the...
Another was April 9th, in which a fire destroys part of the Elwood Elementary School. Many of the kids lost something or were traumatized by the event, one of which was Arthur, who nearly lost his dad in the fire. The scene that scared me as a child was the nightmare that Arthur had in which his dad gets murdered by a fucking squid.
Help! Somebody!
Go mammals!
Hey, that's my dad! Someone help him! Dad!
Sorry, lad. I can't let you go in there. It's too dangerous.
I mean, Jesus. The final one I remember scaring me was one that scared me so much I didn't even fully know if it was real. In the episode What Scared Sue Ellen, she gets spooked by something in the woods and believes it to be a Baba Yaga. And of course in her nightmare she gets chased by a Baba Yaga. Something about the way that this lady was drawn compared to everything else and her more hostile nature just terrified me. These certainly aren't scary to an adult now, but they scared me when I was younger, okay? Give me a break. I'm sure lots of kids from the 90s watched the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And the kids who did see it probably remember the villain Judge Doom and how terrifying he was. For me as a child, the 2 scenes that terrified me was one where he melts a poor little cartoon shoe.
How did that gargoyle get to be a judge?
Remember how we always thought there wasn't a way to kill a tune? Well, Doom found a way. Turpentine, acetone, benzene. He calls it the dip.
I'll catch the rabbit, Mr. Valiant. Then I'll try him, convict him,
and execute him.
Nice one, babe.
I mean, Jesus! And then the second one is where he is, spoiler alert, revealed to be a toon. Between his expressions, voice, and eyes blended into his realistic form, it's just pure nightmare fuel.
Remember me, Eddie?
When I killed your brother, I talked. Just wait.
Ugh, let's just move on. Now, fun fact, I never played video games really until I was like 13 or 14 years old. While I didn't like playing games when I was younger, I did like watching my dad play video games. You know, before he went to the store to get milk and never came back. But anyways, he liked to play Halo Combat Evolved a lot, which of course I watched him play. I was pretty chill with quite a bit of the game, at least until a parasitic race of aliens called the Flood came into play. Watching deformed creatures stumble around and burst into dozens of other little parasitic creatures was just creepy and gross and disturbing.
Hold still! Let him have it! Ah! Sergeant, we're surrounded! God damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapon! There are too many, Sarge! Don't even think about it, Marine. Oh, this is local! Get back here, Marine! That's an order! Jenkins!
0 out of 10 would not interact with the Flood again. Okay, now let's talk about the brave little toaster. What's that? You're asking how a movie with a talking toaster can possibly be scary? Let's go down the checklist, shall we? Let's see. An air conditioner gets so angry he blows up and dies for most of the movie.
So, it's back to that stupid static again. You think I don't know what's going on in here? I know what goes on in this cottage. It's a conspiracy. And every one of you low-watts is in on it. I'm not an invalid! I was designed to stick in a wall! I like being stuck in this stupid wall! I can't help it if the kid was too short to reach my dials!
We didn't mean it. Really?
It's my function!
Creepy scenery, a nightmare sequence that most likely contributed to my fear of clowns. Luckily, it didn't traumatize me from forks and showers too. A repairman basically kills a blender in grisly detail.
Boy, are you some lucky guy. This was the last one left, can you believe it?
The rest of the appliances that repairman mutilated.
Look at me, I mean really, boff. I'm a can opener, a lamp, and a shaver. Oh God, I'm a mishmash!
A demon magnet at a junkyard that sends cars to their death, and what is essentially their organs fly everywhere. And last but not least, the junkyard turning into a hellscape as the magnet drops the appliance's master into a conveyor belt where he could get crushed as he's screaming for help. Yeah, this movie was intense. I loved it though. I still love it. I recommend you check it out. Okay, we're halfway down the list. While these movies were creepy as a kid, these next ones made a major impact on me from how terrifying they were. Leading off with the movie Signs. The movie certainly isn't perfect by any means, but it certainly had a lot of atmosphere. Though the part that certainly freaked me out the most with the aliens wasn't the one where you actually saw them. For me, the scariest was the kid's birthday party.
All initial opinions are this is genuine. What you're about to see may disturb you.
Move, children! Vámonos!
Está atrás de garage! Está atrás de ahí! It's behind!
Oh!
The score and buildup of everyone freaking out but not knowing what it is terrifying enough. But then you see something walk out and you can't even fully see it. Between the panic that erupts, the score, and the fact that you know that it is an alien, but you still don't fully know what it looks like is terrifying, and it stuck with me as a child. Now as a kid, I was a huge Potterhead. And I still do look fondly back on Harry Potter, even though J.K. Rowling is, not the nicest. Sometimes it's best to separate the art from the creator, though. But anyways, I would always read the books and then watch the movies after, except for one movie that I actually never finished watching because of how much it terrified me. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It was actually pretty early on. Once the Death Eaters terrorized the camp, I decided nope, and hid in my room until like the end of the movie pretty much. It's a shame, I missed the scene that became a meme.
Harry, you put your name in the Goblet of Fire.
Okay, most kids from my era should know this show, and everyone has at least one episode that scared them. Courage the Cowardly Dog. This is one of my all-time favorite shows. They masterfully craft the atmosphere and tension in their episodes. Their scares are creative and effective. It used to give me quote-unquote nightmares as a kid. No, I never actually saw them as nightmares. I just saw them as my own personal episodes of the show. That's how much I loved it. Though, one episode that probably scared me more than others was, just like other people I'm sure, King Ramses' curse. Even the setup is brilliantly creepy, as it shows two thieves encountering King Ramses.
Return this land, or suffer my curse.
Keeping Ramses and his curse in shadows just enough to scare the viewer, but we still don't know what he fully looks like. And once we do see him, he is pure nightmare fuel.
Return this land.
What?
Return this land, or suffer my curse.
Between his eerie voice and the fact that he does not fit in with the environment at all makes him all the creepier. I'm able to appreciate the funny moments now that I'm not completely scared by the episode, but even with the outdated CGI, he is still eerie. People seeing him for the first time now may not understand how terrifying he is, but a lot of people who grew up with this show can probably agree that this is probably one of the scariest episodes. Oh boy. Do I even need to explain how scary Coraline is? Anyone who has seen this movie can contest to how terrifying it is. Anyone who hasn't seen it, what are you doing? Go watch it. The atmosphere is great, the character is terrifying or charming, the imagery ranges from magical to piss-your-pants scary, And the animation is so incredible, I can't even. And it's even great on rewatches because you can just see the creepy hints at foreshadowing throughout the entire movie, including incredibly subtle ones. It still gives me chills, and I still love watching it. But yeah, it scared me as a kid. It really scared me. Now before we go to number 1, let's go for some honorable mentions. Night on Bald Mountain from Fantasia certainly has some scary imagery, as it is an embodiment of evil and the devil itself. And most terrifying, there are nipples! It just wasn't as scary to me as a kid than the other things on the list. Invader Zim is definitely an incredibly dark cartoon, and I love it to bits. However, even though it was dark, I was a bit older when I saw it, so it didn't really scare me all that much. There was a show called Tootsylvania in which there were many segments in each episode based around certain characters. One of the segments being based around Melissa Screech, a bratty kid who is featured in fables meant to warn children of bad behavior. One segment warned not to stay out too late or else the boogeyman would take you and cook you up. It certainly didn't help with my fear of the dark.
Until the boogeyman leapt out and hauled her off with glee.
The Reggies from the Pokemon anime, especially Regice. Do I need to say any more? Okay, number 1 requires a bit of backstory. When I was in 3rd grade, I wanted to see a real horror movie. My mom did not want me to see one because of the violence in them, but since I really wanted to see one, she decided to let me see what she considered to be a more tame one. Ironically, this one would have traumatized me for life. Okay, a bit dramatic, but it seriously scared the crap out of me. The movie I'm talking about is the 1968 version of Night of the Living Dead. This movie doesn't scare me now, though I have a ton of admiration for this movie, and it was a major stepping stone in media. It paved the way towards modern zombie movies, and was one of the first films to not only cast a person in minority in a role that didn't call for it, but to cast a black person in a main role. That's pretty cool. But holy hell, this movie scared the shit out of me. This movie was nothing I ever saw before. Other things were eerie, sure, but you could tell they weren't real. This was so realistic, it scared me. At least back then. It's not super realistic now, but for months afterward, I would run home from the bus stop because I was afraid of zombies emerging from the forest to eat me, and it did not help that my family would tease me about it, always saying, "He's coming to get you, Kaylee."
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it! You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Spook! Well, those are my top 10 scariest nostalgic moments. If you guys liked the video, be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell. You don't want to miss the next nostalgia trip. Don't forget to spread the word. Spread the word. Don't click away. Watch more. It's too late. You cannot escape. And be sure to go to my Etsy and Ko-fi if you want to support me financially. Until next time, this is DanseMacabre, signing off.